Hi, welcome to Maree. Have you got leftover apples and you don't know what to do with them? Well, I think there's always room for another apple cake recipe. Today I've got my moist cinnamon apple cake. The apples are sliced on top with a little bit of cinnamon sprinkled and a simple moist cake on the inside. So if you'd like to see my moist cinnamon apple cake, come with me and let's see. So this is a really simple apple cake. So I'm just going to pop in 125 grams of butter, which has already been cubed and softened to room temperature. And we're going to whip that up with 2 types of sugar. I've got dark brown sugar and white sugar. So there's 100 grams of each, which is about half a cup. And if you add the brown sugar, it just gives a little bit more moistness to the cake. So we're going to whip those up until they're combined and creamy. In the meantime, pop your oven on 170 degrees C. And today I'm going to do it in this square tin. This is my favorite 23 centimeter square. I've just greased it and lined it with paper, or you can do it in a 23 centimeter round. I love that size because it only takes 30 minutes to bake. I love having this cake for breakfast. I know it's really naughty, but cake and coffee, and this batter would also work well, or the base cake recipe would also work well if you wanted to put pears on top or any other fruit that you've got that you wanted to use up. We've got 2 eggs here, and I'm just going to whisk those with a fork and pour those in. And I'm going to reuse this jug. So in the jug I'm going to put in 3 tablespoons of oil. Not completely necessary, but it just adds a little bit more moistness to the cake. And I've got a little tub of Greek yogurt. That's 120 grams. I'm just going to scoop that out. You can also use milk in this recipe. So it works well if you wanted to sour your milk slightly. So use the same quantity. About half a cup of milk or 120 mils, and add a tablespoon of lemon juice to sour it so it turns it into buttermilk, and let it rest for about 15 minutes, and then you add that instead of yogurt. So I'm just going to pour in half of this mix and we'll prepare our flour. So I'm using my favourite white spelt flour. There's 200 grams, which is about a cup and 2/3, but you can use regular flour or wholemeal flour, buckwheat flour. It works with any type of flour. So I'm just whisking that instead of sifting it. I'm being lazy and this cake doesn't really need it to be sifted. And then I'm adding 2 teaspoons of baking powder. And if you're in the UK or Australia, you can also use self-raising flour. Just do 200 grams but no baking powder. And into that I'm adding 2 teaspoons of cinnamon, because it wouldn't be a cinnamon cake without the cinnamon. So I'm going to throw in about 1/3 of that just to get it mixed, and then add the rest of this yogurt mix. A little bit more flour, so just alternate until it's all gone. And just scrape halfway. Add a bit more flour and just mix that on low. We don't want to overmix it. I'm just going to take it off the stand now and mix the balance just with my hands and the spatula. So just fold in the last bit. Now this batter's quite thick. It's a little bit thicker than a regular cake. So now we just pour this into our prepared cake tin. Just check it's all mixed on the bottom as you're taking it out. You just always mix it around a little bit. So the next step, we're going to add our 4 little apples on top. You can use whatever apples you like. I've just got these ones this week. Not sure what exact type they are. So I'm just taking the bottom core out, peeling them. You need to work quickly with your apples so they don't brown. But you can add a little bit of lemon juice if you're worried about them browning. But I'll just peel them quickly and add them on. So I've just zoomed in so you can see what I'm doing. I've got my cinnamon sugar on standby. So I'm just going to chop these apples in half, core the middle out. Now we'll sprinkle this cinnamon mix on top. Apples all done, ready for the oven. So we're going to bake this for 30 minutes until it's all golden brown. And then we'll do a taste test. But stick around, I've got some bonus tips for you. So as promised, a few baking tips if you want a few variations. So if you didn't want to have eggs, you could swap out the 2 eggs for flax eggs. That's 2 tablespoons of ground flax meal with 6 tablespoons of water. You mix it all together and let it rest for 15 minutes. And that's perfect if you're cooking or baking for any of your vegan friends or family members. And you could swap out the butter and just do all oil, or you could add like a vegan non-dairy butter and sugar. If you didn't want brown sugar, swap it out for all white sugar, or you could even try all brown sugar, which I've done in a few other recipes. And as I said before, if you didn't have yogurt, you could swap it out for milk. I've done this cake with oat milk and a little bit of lemon juice, but you can use cow's milk. There's a few other tips for variations on this cake. The cake's all cooked and I've had it cooling for about an hour, so I'm just going to do a little cut and a taste test. I love the edge bits because they're a little bit crunchier, and my husband loves the middle bit because that's a little bit more moist. But either way, it's a great cake. So check that out. I think it got like a little bubble or something, but okay. It's still a little bit warm. It's delicious. Look at that. I've got these kind of like crunchy, moist apple bits on top. And it's light and fluffy. Adding the dark brown sugar with the white sugar and a little touch of oil makes this cake like super moist. So if you've liked my video today, hit the thumbs up, share it with a friend, try baking it and let me know how you go. If you don't have apples, try pears or some other fruit that's in season. And if you're new here today, consider subscribing. I'm doing 3 videos a week this year, just so I can share more recipes with you. Anyway, thank you for watching and I'll see you next time. Bye. Gonna go away and enjoy. Yum.